You ever went to the theater, saw a movie, and you fell asleep, or you felt like falling asleep in the movie? This what this video gonna be about.
Movies that made me fall asleep in the theater or come close to falling asleep. Fa la 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 la.
Now, there's a bunch of movies that I've fallen asleep on in the theater, which is messed up because movies cost way too much to be falling asleep in. But there was a couple that I just couldn't help it, and I wrote a list, the ones that I can remember. So some of these I fell asleep on, and some of these I wanted to fall asleep on, or I walked out on. There's actually one that I walked out on, but Superman Returns. I fell asleep in Superman Returns because that movie was boring. Uh, it was just way too slow. I just thought it was boring and too long, and it just I fell asleep on it, man. I just fell asleep. One movie I fell asleep on, but it wasn't the movie's fault. Was the very first Harry Potter movie. When the movie first came out, I went with my sister and my parents, and I was so tired. I had just got off work, working third shift, and everybody was going to the movie, so I didn't want to get left out. So I went too, and I fell asleep like 20 minutes into the movie. And I remember waking up in a part where they were like on a chessboard. Harry Potter, he was on some chess piece back, or I can't remember, but I fell asleep a little bit after that. But Psycho, Psycho, the remake, that was a struggle. That was a struggle to sit in that theater through that movie, and I dozed off a few times, and I just didn't like it. I thought the movie was boring. Summer of Sam, Spike Lee movie. I walked out on that. Cabin Fever. I wanted to walk out on Cabin Fever. Now my view of Cabin Fever has kind of changed. Some movies you see at the theater, you may not like it, or you may like it, and then when you go watch it later on at home, you may like it or you may not like it. Your views change. But Cabin Fever, oh my goodness, that junk was hard to sit through in the theater. I just did not like it at all. One of the most boring movies that I've seen in the theater that I fell asleep on, and it was a movie I was actually looking forward to, was Pineapple Express. I thought the trailer looked funny, and I wanted to see it. And me and my wife got uh, the theater was doing this thing where you collect so many stamps or whatever, you can go see a movie for free. And we wanted to see something, but we decided to see Pineapple Express, and I wanted to see it. I was anxious to see it, and about 20, 30 minutes into the movie, I thought, oh my gosh, this movie is freaking boring, man. I remember talking to people about Pineapple Express after I seen the movie. It's like, man, the movie was whack, the movie was weak, it was boring, and oh, you had to be a stoner in order to get the jokes. Like, no, no, I'm telling you, I was one of the biggest stoners out there. You can't use that on me. And I love stoner movies like Half Baked and How High and all them. Pineapple Express was just boring to me, and it was weak and it wasn't funny. Devil's Rejects. Oh man, a lot of people like Devil's Rejects, and I'm not one of them. That was torture sitting in the theater watching that movie. I don't think I fell I don't think I fell asleep, but I wanted to, and the movie was just dragging on, and I didn't like it, and I just wanted it to be over with. House of the Dead. Oh gosh, House of the Dead was terrible. I was in the theater with two other people. I wasn't with them, but there was a total of three people in the theater watching that movie. There was two girls, and they were sitting way up front, and I was kind of like in the middle of the theater. And when the movie was over, I remember them walking out, and I was behind them, and they were talking to each other like, "Oh, what a waste of money that was," and it was. That movie was horrible. Miami Vice. Me and my wife were the only ones in the theater watching Miami Vice, and the movie was terrible. The movie was boring. We were so not into the movie that we just decided to make out in the theater. An American Haunting. Now this is like the first movie that me and my wife saw together at the theater. Boring movie. I don't remember really anything about it, and I'm glad because I don't like when my thoughts bore me. So I'm just not gonna think about that. There was this movie that I was dragged to uh, because this girl and her friends, this girl and her friends was going to this movie, and this girl liked me, and they wanted me to go to the movie. I didn't know what movie they were going to see, but it was a movie called Anywhere But Here. I think that's the name of it. Anywhere But Here, and it's got Susan Sarandon and Natalie Portman. Oh my goodness. You talk about torture, man. That is not my type of movie to see in the theater or really anywhere. I just, you just don't know what that was like sitting in the theater during that movie. I was so not into that movie, and it's funny because this girl and her friend, they're sitting there in the theater crying. They're watching this movie crying, and I'm sitting there just bored out of my mind. Like, please, please, this movie better be worth it. But oh man, those are some movies. I think I got some more. Just yeah, these are the ones that I thought of. There's other movies out there, I'm sure, but I those are movies that I fell asleep on, or walked out of, or wanted to fall asleep or walk out of. Anyway, thanks for watching. Peace. Can you say an 80s slasher?